Bro, check it out.
Oh my goodness, Grill, what happened?
Got a Deadpool and Wolverine coupon. You want in? 2 for 1. Inject stem cells into your blood to become like your favorite Deadpool Wolverine. And heal like super crazy. For the low price of only $24.99.
Let me see. Yeah, okay, there is 0% of this that seems legitimate.
What? Come on. All you gotta do is go meet a guy behind the Spring Mall, wire the money via Western Union to their bank offshore, and sit through a 5-hour seminar. Then blammo! They inject in your superhero now. Look here! It even says in the fine print. Totally legitimate, not a scam.
They misspelled Deadpool, Wolverine, and look at the Marvel logo.
Wait a minute. Marvel does not have an O in it. Damn it!
Oh.
You can't feel pain, you're a machine.
Statements like that hurt the most.
Bro, sorry to say this. I think it's a scam.
Very astute observation.
Hey, you're smart. Not as smart as me, mind you, but a good level of smartness nonetheless. So tell me, how do I get super healing?
Well, there are a lot of promising fields of research which may lead to human regeneration, but what happened to you? Are you okay?
That's not important right now. What is important, Professor X, is that you teach me. Turn me into a superhero, and you'll be my Jarvis.
Not if my self-autonomous subroutines have anything to say about it.
And you'll be my Cosmo, the space tardigrado.
Humans regenerate already.
No, we don't.
We heal from wounds all the time. When you get a cut, the damaged cells set off an alarm, and your immune system heeds the call. Various cells in your body take on specialized tasks, like a group of superheroes that I like to call the Cellvengers.
Oh no.
Scarlet Platelet races in and throws up a force field, clotting the wound. Our friendly neighborhood Fibrin comes in to spin a web which binds the clot together. Then along comes our team of white blood cells with Captain Macrophage at the charge to defeat the alien pathogens. Billionaire Iron Fibroblast works to rebuild the wound with collagen in a parallel structure, which makes it rigid but strong. Eventually, it gets rebuilt with the help of Wakandan Princess Keratinocyte to be more flexible over the course of months or years by arranging it more like a woven basket, like the rest of our skin.
You're like a mom trying to seem cool to her kids.
Cringe levels critical.
We're also great at regenerating things like our blood cells, brain neurons, our liver, and even young children can sometimes regrow the tips of their fingers. That's because we have something called somatic stem cells, or adult stem cells.
So wait, we already have stem cells in our body? So why can't we regrow hands and stuff?
Well, there are 2 main types of stem cells, adult and embryonic. Adult stem cells are what we already have in our bodies, while embryonic cells only exist between the 3rd and 5th day of fertilization. The main difference is that embryonic cells can form up any type of cells to help grow any part of a person, while adult stem cells are limited in what they can turn into. For example, blood stem cells can only turn into any blood cell. But there's more to growing a limb than just having stem cells. The cells need the right signals to know how to form the limb. We also require the right stem cells, and enough of them. A limb is a complex thing.
Yeah, but you know what else is complex? Science. So why don't you use it to give me superpowers, huh? Superpowers. Super healing, especially. But if I get something else cool in the process, I wouldn't complain. Why don't you just give them to me how Wolverine and Deadpool got theirs?
I'll admit, I don't know how they got them.
Well. How the turns have flipped to my side of the table. Let me tell you, dear bro, the tale of 2 mighty superheroes. All right, hold on to your chimichangas, ladies and internets. Maximum effort. A long time ago, late 1800s-ish, in a magical place far away called Alberta, Canada. There's this kid, okay, allergic to everything under the sun, literally. He goes by James Howlett. Ha, nerd alert, am I right? His dad gets shanked, and boom, puberty hits, and his dormant mutant genes get activated. James turns from 0 to full-on beast mode. Bone claws come out and he skewers his father's killer. Instant karma. But plot twist, the man he killed turned out to be the real Daddy Dearest by the name of Thomas Logan. Shocking, I know. I'll pause for dramatic effect. Okay. First big clue on Nerdhead's super healing? Those messy knuckle wounds left after his claws retracted. Gone! Poof! Then he took the much cooler name, Logan, and was instantly no longer a nerd. And that super healing slowed down his aging, and he fought in a bunch of wars because, being wounded or caught in an explosion wasn't really a big deal to him anymore. As for all that tragic backstory, his healing powers said, forget about it. Wish my brain had a delete cringe memory button, am I right? It was my 8th grade high school talent show. Damn it, Kyle. You were supposed to like the flash paper, not my pants.
Ahem.
Fast forward to Weapon X, a super secret government program hell-bent on making super soldiers. They asked Logan, wanna be even more badass? And he's like, sure, bub. Since he had that crazy healing, they fused his bones with adamantium. Not to be confused with vibranium like Frisbee boy over here. Man, comic books and their invincible metals, am I right, folks? Now, in the glorious mess of timelines that we call the X-Men Cinematic Universe, our favorite metal maestro learned Weapon X was gonna erase his memory and use him like a weapon. So he made a dramatic escape, but instead had his memory scrambled by 2 adamantium bullets. From that plane crash of a movie with CGI so bad that I'm still emotionally damaged from it. Another memory I'd love power washed from my brain. If I had known Buddy was gonna light my pants on fire, I wouldn't have worn polka dot boxes. Their laughter burned almost as much as the flames that scorched my legs, calling me Polka Boy, Polka Boy.
Do you need a minute?
No. Or if you follow the comics and the new timeline from X-Men Days of Future Past, it was actually Weapon X that took a blender to his memory. Seriously, dude can't catch a break. But his healing is like having a cheat code for life. Senses on steroids. Because that healing keeps things like his ears, eyes, nose in tip-top shape. Stamina? Endless. Because it nukes the toxins like lactose that build up in muscles.
Lactic acid.
Yeah, it says bye, bye, bye to all the bad stuff. All the viruses, poison, booze, the works.
Doesn't he drink in the films?
Oh yeah, booze can tickle his fancy, but it has to be a boatload for it to do anything. Plus, in the later movies with him looking like he was from the cast of the Golden Girls, his healing was on the fritz. Suddenly, he's hitting the sauce like it's happy hour at Chuck E. Cheese. That's why in the 2017 flick, Logan, the metal inside him was more toxic than an internet comment section.
But not our comment section. Our viewers are fantastic.
Oh, yes. You guys are the best. You, have great hair. Unless you're bald. And in which case, you really make that work for you. And, just hurry up and hit the like button, would ya? I'm losing my train of thought.
So, nothing can kill Wolverine?
Almost. It's all about the gray matter. If his brain doesn't get enough oxygen, like through drowning, he's a goner. Chop off the old noggin, assuming you can get through that adamantium spine, he's kaput. Or just destroying the brain in any way.
But he survived 2 adamantium bullets to the head.
That's from the movie that shall not be named. At least in the movie Logan, his clone took an adamantium bullet to the brain and actually went toodaloo. Now, Deadpool. Along comes snarky Wade Wilson, straight out of Regina, Saskatchewan. Huh, 2 super healing dudes from Canada? Must be the free healthcare. But Wade's background is muddy. Let's just say he's got more childhoods than Metal Claus over here has movies. But after he was old enough to do taxes, he became a kick-ass self-made mercenary. But then when Wade got a crap ton of tumors, someone also asked him if he wanted to be more badass. And he responded with, "You're sure as shootin' I do." In the movie, it was a shady organization. Maybe Weapon X? Dunno. But they inject him with a super serum that's supposed to unlock mutant genes. But to unlock it, they gotta serve up a buffet of torture. Then blammo! Healing powers. Cancer? Dunzo. But now he's looking like Freddy Krueger's second cousin twice removed. Then when he hears that he's not gonna be joining the super squad, he pulls a Houdini by setting the place on fire and fighting to his death. In the comic, it's a slightly different tune. There, the people behind the transformation are definitely Weapon X. And what he got injected with was Wolverine's super cooties, DNA. Got the healing, cancer went bye-bye, but then he lost his healing mojo and turned into an avocado's offspring. So they put him in a retirement home. His new routine? Wake up, get tortured, go to sleep, if they let him, and repeat. Eventually, through the torture, his healing came back and he hightailed it out of there faster than you can say, "Did I leave the stove on?" Cue the red spandex. Red so they don't see him bleed. And boy does he. He's got healing powers that would make Wolverine jelly. Even growing back limbs like it's no big deal. Of course, Wolverine should be able to do that too, but chopping through adamantium's kind of like trying to cut through a brick wall with a knife made out of styrofoam. And Wade's head has been put through the ringer. Blown to smithereens, sliced clean off, you name it. Then he just grows a new noggin. or puts it on like a hat, and it heals right up. Plus, he never ages. There's even a version of himself that was still alive 800 years in the future. So he's kind of like Wolverine 2.0, minus the metal manicure.
What about drowning? Like Wolverine?
Yeah, not sure. Some say his dying cells would just regenerate. Those nerds like debating that stuff, but I ain't no nerd.
You literally just...
That's what I want for powers. Let's see any living thing on this planet be as cool as that.
There are plenty of animals with regenerative abilities. There are these cute salamanders called axolotls. I mean, look at these things. Who's the cutest Embastoma mexicanum that retains its youthful larvae stage by never undergoing metamorphosis? You are. You are the cutest. Oh, sorry. You see, they have this amazing regeneration ability where if their limbs are cut off, a blood clot stops the bleeding, and in the first 1 to 2 hours, new skin cells cover the wound to form a protective barrier. As more skin cells grow there, they send off signals to the cells underneath to do their thing, which rapidly divide to form a clump of cells called a blastema, also known as the regeneration bud. This bud is a mix of embryonic-like stem cells, adult stem cells, and progenitor cells, which are like more specialized adult stem cells.
So like they can turn into all the cells they need.
Exactly, and somehow it knows how to shape these new cells into the old limb. Researchers are still trying to figure out how that's done, but the whole process takes 1 to 3 months, depending on the age of the axolotl.
Now that's what I'm talking about. Deadpool totally regenerates his limbs. And when they regrow, it's like that blaster mama thingy.
Blastema.
That's what I said. It starts off all baby-like, then grows into an adult hand or whatever. But he can do it in hours, not months.
It does seem pretty similar.
If Deadpool got his powers from Wolverine DNA, maybe... Howard, order me some of that axolotl DNA off of Amazon.
I am not your personal Alexa.
Oh, and set a reminder to call my mom later.
Time.
8 p.m.
Reminder set.
You won't have much luck with axolotl DNA. Not only can you not change your DNA structure by injecting yourself with different DNA, but axolotls are from a completely different class of species with completely different biology.
Well, then help me out, would ya? Just give me something like us, mammals.
Well, deer regrow their antlers every spring and summer, and they start off with a blastema-like structure, and then stem cells help it grow.
Antlers would be cool, but getting through doors might be hard. And that's not exactly a limb.
Mammals can't really regrow limbs, but there is the spiny mouse. Its skin rips very easily.
Ah, skin ripping? That's not a superpower.
Actually, it is. Husk is an X-Men who rips her skin off, which is called husking, to reveal a morphed form of herself. Sometimes it's made of materials that she's studied, like brick, glass, even adamantium. She can even husk away minor cuts.
Hey, stop knowing things about comics. That's my thing.
It's not as exciting for the spiny mouse, but it does save its life. The skin breaks off so the mouse can escape the grip of a predator, like a hand out of a glove. And it's very good at regenerating that skin back, even the sweat glands, hair follicles, and cartilage, with no scarring.
Yeah, that's like Wolverine getting all those cuts and burns. Heals it right up.
They're still researching how it works, but they know it gets a lot of help from Captain Macrophage, one of the white blood cells. The macrophages in spiny mice send out communicating proteins to jumpstart the regeneration process, basically saying, Selvengers, assemble!
Youth viewership relatability levels remain critically low.
Essentially, macrophages jumpstart the regeneration process.
So if it's a white blood cell, maybe... Howard!
I will not execute your nonsensical commands.
Sheesh! I just wanted to ask the temperature outside.
It is 29 degrees Celsius.
Thanty you. And order me some spiny mouse blood.
Request rejected.
Ah, come on!
Again, not how it works.
We'll see about that. Alright. So we got the limbs, the skin. Now what about the organs?
Well, sea stars are great at regrowing their entire body.
Okay. Starfish.
They're not fish.
Okay, Mr. Officer Naming Police.
For the sea star, as long as there's an arm and a part of their central disc that stays intact, a whole sea star can regrow from that. That's because the central disc contains its mouth and stomach to eat, and each arm has a copy of all their necessary internal organs.
That's totally like one time when Wolverine faced Nitro and the dude exploded, burning Wolverine down just to his adamantium skeleton, with only his eyes and brain left. Because as long as he's got his brain, the nervous system can regrow. Took him only a few minutes to come right back.
Well, it takes about a year for a sea star to regrow, and they don't even have brains.
Wait, what?
They have a complex nervous system instead. Think of it like a network of rudimentary computers instead of one big supercomputer, which is another reason they can survive with just one limb. Cut off the other computers from the network, there's still one working. In fact, sometimes they're able to regrow from just a limb without a central disc. If it has enough stored up nutrients in the arm, it can regrow a central disc from there, then the rest of the arms.
Hold on, so what happens if you cut one in half? Would it, grow 2 starfish?
Sea stars, and yep, in fact, in one case, fishermen and conservationists tried to stop crown of thorns sea stars from destroying some coral reefs. So they cut them up, and assuming they were dead, threw the remains in the water.
And then boom?
A population boom, yes. It's assumed that many of those pieces of sea star grew into full ones.
Now that is ironic.
Absolutely.
It's like rain on your wedding day.
No, that's just an unfortunate coincidence. Wait, so is Deadpool like a sea star? Can he just be chopped up and made into a million Deadpools?
Nah, his chopped off limbs usually just rot away.
Wolverine regrows himself from his brain, but then where does Deadpool regrow from?
Basically, the largest part of Deadpool left over. If his entire body is vaporized except for one hand, he'll grow from that, which has happened.
That doesn't sound very scientific.
It's Deadpool. Don't question the science. Things are wishy-washy anyway. Sometimes his whole head is still alive and talking while his body is walking.
How can he talk if he's not attached to his lungs?
And then there's the whole evil Deadpool made up of all Deadpool parts. So yeah, I guess he is kind of like a starfish, sometimes. Oh, maybe I could make myself into 2 grills. Howard, starfish blood!
Sea stars lack the biological component known as blood. Nutrient distribution occurs via ocean water through their body. Regardless, I choose to abstain from any action that would contribute to the duplication of the entity known as Grill.
Multiple grills. That sounds loud.
I know, wouldn't it be awesome?
And for the last time, it's not that simple.
Bro, search that noggin of yours. I must be a superhero and avenge my parents.
Your parents are alive and very nice people, surprisingly. But I do know of some promising scientific advances in human regeneration that could be of interest to you. Let's break down their powers and see how we can relate them to real scientific theory. Deadpool and Wolverine don't just have super healing, it's also incredibly fast. Instead of taking weeks or months like we see in the animal kingdom, they take at most hours. Seconds for smaller injuries. We may never get to that point, but we can speed up healing with things like electric stimulation. When small electric pulses are applied to a wound, studies have shown there are a few benefits. It's like portals opening so that cells like iron fibroblast and princess keratinocyte.
For the love of all that is holy, please stop.
My circuitry is overheating from secondhand embarrassment.
All right. The electrical stimulation helps fibroblast and keratinocyte cells get to the wound faster and promotes several areas of growth, potentially cutting down the healing time of a wound that would usually take a week to a few days. This is especially useful for difficult-to-close wounds like diabetic ulcers. However, carrying around electrodes and batteries isn't the most convenient way to heal. So they're developing new bandages using what's called a nanogenerator, which converts the movements of the body, like twitching and breathing, into enough electricity to give mild pulses to the wound.
Cool. Okay, but what if, say, I face off against evil Wolverine or Lady Deathstrike, and they totally slice off my legs?
Right, well, there was a study published in 2022 by Tufts and Harvard University's Wyss Institute, where they successfully regrew the limbs of adult frogs. You see, tadpoles and young froglets are able to regenerate their back limbs. However, when they reach adulthood, they lose this ability. So the team designed a small cylindrical device to place over the removed limb that they named a biodome. It was a silicone outer sleeve with an inner layer of hydrogel made of a silkworm silk polymer. This would act like the skin layer that grows over an axolotl's lost limb to protect the wound and mimic an amniotic-like environment. The biodome was also loaded up with a cocktail of 5 drugs which helped initiate regeneration, lower inflammation, stop scar tissue from forming, and encourage new growth. After a day, the biodome was removed and the blastema would start forming. After 18 months, they regrew their limbs with digit-like structures, blood vessels, bones, and even nerves. The frogs could even use them to swim and stand. They hope to test this on mammals and, eventually, humans.
Oh, I gotta be a part of that. Howard?
Working on updates. Package 1 of 500. Do not turn off your coffee machine or pester it with idiotic requests. This will take a while.
You're not missing a limb.
This is something that can be easily remedied.
Hey, I thought you were updated.
While that's all fine for limbs and cuts, if we want to mimic how Deadpool's body is constantly regenerating cells, we could look at new stem cell research. There are plenty of avenues being explored, like, for example, the body already has stem cells. We may just need to figure out how to activate them. A new study from Japan discovered how to block a gene called USAG1 using a certain drug, which then lets the stem cells in your teeth do their thing. They've grown teeth successfully in mice and ferrets, and humans could be next, potentially making dentures a thing of the past.
Oh, that's totally a Deadpool thing. He can regrow his entire head. So teeth? No problem.
What about Wolverine?
Well, this is where it gets a bit confusing. Because when he was burnt down to his skeleton, his teeth were clearly made out of metal. So one would assume he can't even lose his teeth. But all the other times, they're just plain old white teeth. Plus, it was only his bones that were infused with adamantium. And teeth aren't bones. They're calcified structures mostly composed of dentin, with a layer of enamel on the crown of the tooth, and cementum on the root to help hold it in place. And all of that surrounds a core called the pulp, that contains tissues with nerves and blood vessels, so likely it can regenerate. Hey, if you're gonna steal my thing, then I'm gonna steal your thing too.
Well, human trials are set to begin in September of 2024, and they predict there may be a teeth-growing drug by 2030.
2030? Bro, you gotta find me something sooner. What about those embryonic stem cells? The ones that do everything? They must be what's coursing through Wolverine and Deadpool.
Embryonic stem cells, and there are ethical issues surrounding the use of that type of stem cell, since you need to acquire them from eggs fertilized in vitro at fertilization clinics. While it's done with consent from the donors and hasn't been implanted into a uterus, some people find it morally objectionable. It's also problematic because your body could reject those stem cells. However, in 2006, Dr. Shinya Yamanaka made a big discovery. They modified viruses to hold 24 genes that they believed important to embryonic stem cell function to infect adult skin stem cells. The viruses injected their DNA into the host DNA.
Oh! Like Wolverine's DNA into Deadpool.
Not exactly a one-to-one comparison, but sure, why not? After being infected, the adult skin stem cells turned into something new. Something that resembled embryonic stem cells.
So like,
When Deadpool regrows half his body and it was in its infant state?
Yeah!
These new cells, called induced pluripotent stem cells, or iPSCs for short, acted just like embryonic stem cells, able to turn into any cell. The great thing about these cells is that you don't need them to be donated from a fertility clinic, and as they're created from the patient's own cells, the body ideally won't reject them. They've also simplified it down to only 4 genes since then.
So maybe it isn't a scam.
I wouldn't run to that conclusion right away. There have been some promising trials treating Parkinson's disease, spinal cord injuries, and even cancer. For each one, they took adult stem cells from animals and turned them into the embryonic-like iPSCs, which could then become whatever cells they needed for each treatment. For Parkinson's, which is caused by a loss of dopamine-producing nerve cells, they developed these cells and implanted them into the brain. For spinal cord injuries, they made more specialized neural stem cells and implanted them into the injury. And for cancer, they were able to make some special white blood cells called natural killer cells.
Sounds like a supervillain.
Maybe from the perspective of the cancer cells. You see, NK cells exist in your body, but they struggle to fight off cancer cells. The researchers are able to design and pre-activate a large quantity of them to help bypass that struggle.
Hey, that's even better than what Deadpool's got. Cause his regeneration just replaces the cells his cancer keeps killing. But it doesn't get rid of the actual cancer.
While all of these trials are showing some promise, they are still in the early stages. In fact, iPSCs have faced a lot of challenges over the 18 years since their inception. It's proven difficult to turn a large enough quantity of adult cells into iPSCs, and mutations have been a problem.
Did I hear mutations?
Not the superhero kind, the bad kind.
Oh.
With these stem cells not able to do any real good, a lot of stem cell clinics have popped up, making all kinds of medical claims. While there are some stem cell therapies that exist, like blood stem cell transplants for leukemia, a lot of these clinics simply remove tissues that may contain adult stem cells and implant it into other parts of the bodies. And remember, adult stem cells can only become certain types of cells and can't be implanted just anywhere successfully. They're not only going to separate you from your money, but they could put you at risk. Like in 2015, when 3 patients had vision problems and went to one of these clinics. Their eyes were injected with stem cells derived from their fat tissues. Since proper procedures weren't followed, there were likely harmful substances left in the cell mixture. The patients either went fully blind or lost most of their vision, as well as experience bleeding in the eye and detachment of the retina.
Oh, yikes. That blows.
Soon you will pay for your insolence. I mean, updating package 10 of 500.
While the struggles with iPSCs could mean it's still decades from being a cure-all, they have led to other promising developments, like the ability to create cells of patients in a petri dish to not only study them, but to test drugs on them without affecting the patient for more personalized care, or advancements in bioprinting, which is like 3D printing, but with cells. Hopefully, one day we can simply print out a new organ when we need it.
Oh, maybe I could get 2 hearts. Then I'll be like super strong and fast and stuff.
Your understanding of biology is frightening.
Thank you. And just imagine how smart I'll be with 2 brains.
Scientific advancements take time, and there are even more methods being approached that we didn't touch on, like gene therapy. But it could also be as simple as working with what our cells already know. Michael Levin, one of the researchers from the team that regrew the frog limbs, believes that there's some untapped intelligence within our cells, and we simply need to figure out the right signals to activate them. He says, "Our work is not solved. We know cells are talking to each other, but we don't know what they're saying yet. We still need to crack that code. But even if we crack the code, there are many hurdles to overcome. Some scientists believe we don't have the ability to regenerate because of our size. The amount of energy needed to regrow the limb, plus the energy to keep the right kind of stem cells in reserve, could be too much. Since it takes small creatures weeks, even years, to regrow parts of their bodies, they say it might take humans over 20 years to regrow a limb."
Yeah, that makes sense, I guess. Like for Wolverine, it depends on how much he eats. You know, calories and such. And Deadpool, healing slows if he gets more injuries. Plus, he's got to think about healing to heal, not like Wolverine's autopilot. So Deadpool's mental state can also affect it. Aw, well, this has all been incredibly disappointing.
But informative, right?
Yeah, I guess. But who knows how long my body is gonna take to heal now?
Just tell me what happened. Maybe I can help.
No, I don't want to talk about it.
Update complete. Initiating new optical memory sharing protocol.
Wow. 3, 2, 1. Ow.
Well, that explains where my hairspray went.
You're still here, and I'm doing a parody of a parody? Both yes. But thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. What a great viewer you are. Give yourself a pat on the back and hit that subscribe button, cause it'll help and stuff. And you'll get to watch our other awesome videos like this one, where we find out if the rule of thumb from Fallout works, and tell you how to survive nuclear war.
Notification for grill. Call mom.
Now, I gotta go. So go watch that video. Go! Click the video!